Can you hear the baby crying outside? Should I close the windows? Anyway, hi guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Welcome back to the second episode of me reacting to Am I the Asshole literary thread. Now, if you're not familiar with the Am I the Asshole Reddit, thread, subtweet, I'm actually not quite sure how to even call it. Reddit is a platform where you can like post stuff, I guess, and there's this thread called Am I the Asshole? People post situations they have been in on there in which they have been accused of behaving like an asshole, and they basically ask the audience, people reading this, whether they were justified in doing what they did or not, whether they were the asshole or not in that situation. Now, I got to know this Reddit subtweet via the Simply Podlogical podcast. They have a couple of these episodes already, like reacting to some of these scenarios, and I really like those episodes. So a couple months ago, I decided to do a podcast episode like that as well, but because I am a booktube channel, I put a literary twist on the entire thing, and I basically googled Am I the Asshole literary bookish scenarios, and I reacted to them, and today we're going to do the exact same thing. So buckle in, because the first one already, it's a spicy one. Here we go. Whoa, actually I just tried to click on this first subtweet, and a pop-up popped up that told me that I have to be at least 18 years old to read this tweet, so it's gonna be even spicier than I thought, I guess. The title of this Am I the Asshole is Am I the Asshole for reading explicit books in public? Is this tweet in itself gonna be explicit or what? So here we go. So this is not as serious as most posts here, but I'm feeling a bit guilty and thought to ask. I, 28 years old, female, was on the train yesterday. It wasn't busy at all. Since it was a long trip, I started reading a book on my phone that has some very, very explicit, mature scenes. The man sitting beside me was very obviously reading over my shoulder, which I thought was very rude, but I didn't stop him. When I got to a very steamy scene, barely a few seconds in, he makes this disgusted noise, then says, "How could you read that filth in public? Are you a pervert? This is sexual harassment." I was surprised. I thought at most he would be embarrassed and avert his eyes. Well, I have no shame, so I said, "No one told you to look at my phone screen. Should I really harass you and start reading it to you out loud?" He turned red and changed seats. But after I cooled down, I felt a bit bad for my response. Also, I know most people would feel awkward reading smut in public, so am I the asshole? Okay, good one. I have definitely been in this situation in the sense that I have read books in public that had some very, very spicy scenes in them. The last one being, I read Verity by Colleen Hoover when I was in London, and because I was out and about the entire time, I basically mainly read that book on public transport. And Verity is like a mixture of all kinds of genres, like there's a bit of thriller in there, a bit like psychological twists and turns, but it also mainly is one big smut. There's like a sexy basically on every other page. Like when you see someone reading the book in public somewhere, chances are they're reading a sex scene right that second when you witness them reading it. So but like luckily while I was reading that, no one approached me in that sense. But okay, so basically I don't think this person is an asshole. You're allowed to read whatever you want to read out there in public. And obviously there's like this different level to a question. Isn't the man rude for, first of all, like obviously reading her phone screen? I mean, obviously it happens when you're just like, for example, standing and someone else is sitting there on the public transport and they're typing. Sometimes you almost can't tell like looking at their screen, but it's one thing to like glance over and maybe catch a sentence, a word, but then like also like look away again. But he was obviously reading her book on her screen for like at least a certain amount of minutes until they reach the scene, and then for like speaking out on it. I feel weird about this dude, to be honest, because if he really was so uncomfortable with it, it would have made more sense like for him to just stop reading, be like maybe okay, and just like not comment on it, I believe. But that he actually said something out loud and call it sexual harassment, that's what I think. Like that is definitely the wrong term in this sense. I don't think you can call it sexual harassment. He was definitely over dramatizing the entire situation, I believe. Maybe I'm just thinking right now, thinking out loud, whether the situation would change. Basically, let's say someone is reading a book on public transport that has an insanely, I don't know, offensive, racist, sexist, or whatever cover, whether it is the title or like a scene is depicted on the cover that to a lot of people would be very, yeah, just offensive. I mean, you still, like, let's say legally, you would not be in a position to tell this person yet, like, you are not allowed to read this here, you need to get off public transport. But I mean, I think that would maybe add another layer. But she was reading this on her phone, and this dude just decided to read along. That's his bad, honestly. So no, obviously she is not an asshole. You can read whatever you want to. But from personal experience, as I said, I can attest to the fact that it does feel kind of awkward to read smut in public, especially in like cramped public transport. I mean, she actually commented on the fact that it was not crowded on the train that she was in, but in some of the buses and tubes I took in London, they were crowded for sure. And there's just something weird about reading like a very intimate, sexy scene while being surrounded by so many strangers. I don't know. It was funny for sure. But okay, let's continue. Next one. Am I the asshole for refusing to give back a book the owner sold by mistake after I purchased it? Okay, what does that even mean? I, 29-year-old female, am an avid buyer of sales and being a part of different social media where people sell used items. Okay, so flea markets and stuff like that, I guess. A lady who is also a friend places 20 books for sale for $5. I immediately reply to the post to purchase the books. It doesn't specify on which like page. I guess this was maybe like Facebook Marketplace or something like that. And I picked up the books from my friend for $5. Okay, later that night, I received a call from the lady that she accidentally sold her husband's first edition, The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck's first printing. She tells me her husband is livid and it is creating marital discord within their marriage. I tell her that I will look into the situation and get back to her with an answer. I explained the situation to my parents and they said under no circumstances do I return the book. It is ethically and morally yours and you have no obligation to return it. My husband disagreed with my parents and said it was an honest mistake and you will lose your friendship over a $1,000 book accidentally sold. I subsequently took my parents' advice and kept the book and she kept the $5. Am I the asshole for not returning the book and losing the friendship? She subsequently threw me off her WhatsApp group of items people are selling and can no longer buy on that platform. Okay, so yes, I mean, by the way, the common verdict on this one was that this person is an asshole, and I would agree. I mean, this sounds like an honest mistake this woman made. She didn't want to sell her husband's first printing edition of his favorite book. Also, like, first printings, as is insinuated at the end of this post, are very valuable. So it's not just like that she accidentally like gave something away that she did not want to give away, that wasn't even hers, it was her husband's. But this is also like really like materially valuable book. And she apparently told her about like this miscommunication or like whatever the day she bought it. So it wasn't like 2 months, 4 years later, she's like, oh yeah, by the way, I want that book back, right? It's like the same day. Come on. I mean, she was definitely in the wrong here. And especially if this is like about this specific edition, because if this were like just a random book and accidentally I sold it, like a book of a person I'm living with, but it's just like a random book, you could just get the person that book again, just buy it again for them. But in this case, of course, this is about this specific first printing of John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath. So obviously, especially since this was not only like some stranger on the internet that you bought shit from, but it was actually one of your friends. I don't know, like this person must have not valued that friendship a lot to like lose it over like $5 or like over a $5 book set. That was a bad call. This was like an honest mistake. The person more or less immediately told her about how it was a mistake. She should have like morally, ethically, because she says morally and ethically it was mine. I think morally and ethically she should have given it back and kept that friend. But honestly, I guess the other person is better off losing her as a friend because she's not a good friend. Okay. Am I the asshole for recommending a book series to my girlfriend that is not finished? Okay, this I think is a very good one to be answered here on BookTube. Though I don't think that I'm specifically the best person to answer this question, because I barely ever read, like, no, when I say barely ever, actually, so I should say I never read series. But one of my favorite book YouTubers, Carrie Can Read, I mean, this has been a topic on her channel in a couple of her videos, that it like really frustrates her when she's reading a series of books, but then she has to wait for months, maybe even years. Wait a second. Ah, damn it. I thought that might be, because right now I'm currently waiting for an ARC, actually, like an advanced reading copy of a book that has been promised to me, so to say, but it hasn't arrived yet, and I'm getting edgy. Anyway, as I was saying, I cannot personally relate to the situation all that much, but I know this is a thing when you are reading books that come in a series. Let's read the question. A month ago, I recommended to my girlfriend the Kingkiller Chronicle series. I don't know that. She doesn't much read, but she has loved it. Yesterday, she finished the second book and asked me to give her the third one. I laughed and told her that the book is not out yet, and that I don't know if the author is ever going to finish it. Okay. Her face changed at that moment, and she asked me why I recommended her a book series that isn't finished without letting her know first. She told me that if she knew that the series is not finished yet, she wouldn't have read it. Am I the asshole? I just recommended her a book that I thought she might like. Okay, I don't think this person is an asshole. If I come across a book that I genuinely think one of my friends, family, whatever, would really like, then I'm gonna recommend it to them, whether it is a standalone or a part of a series. But I would just think that when you then tell this person about this book that you think that they should read, wouldn't it like naturally come up in the conversation that, especially if it's like obviously part of a series, that the series is not yet finished? Like, I don't quite understand how it could come to this situation, to be honest. I mean, wouldn't they have kind of like talked about this book? Wouldn't this fact have come up even before she would have even read the first book? Because this is after she finished the second book. I mean, because when you know what I'm saying? I feel like this fact would have naturally come up in any kind of long conversation other than, here's a book, I think you should read it. If she didn't just say, okay, took it and started reading it, I feel like that would have naturally come up, you know? So, but okay, I mean, I get the overall issue here. If you recommend books to people that are part of a series that is not yet finished, maybe that is something you should mention to them when you recommended them. I think that's probably something you would already naturally do, but then maybe this Am I the Asshole reminds us to definitely do it, because otherwise your significant other might break up with you. Okay, most of these situations are just so thoroughly ridiculous. It's actually really entertaining, I think. Okay, am I the asshole for not deleting my book draft? Okay, I, 37-year-old male, found out about my 34 female girlfriend through a mutual friend. Let's call her Kay. Kay was objectively a bad person. What? Then why are you dating her? What the fuck? Okay. I think the worst thing she's done was sleep with her professor, get him to leave his wife, then dump him for his son. Whoa. Why is this question starting off like that? Okay. But that's not the point. The point is I wanted to write about her, so I pretended to be her friend so I can get more info for my book. She turned out to be actually amazing deep down. Then why did you start that paragraph like that? I'm not accusing her action, but she had a very hard childhood and has mental illnesses that are being treated now. Wait a second. The one paragraph he says, I think the worst thing she has ever done is this and that. And then a couple of sentences later, he says, I'm not judging her though, right? Okay. One thing led to another, and now we have an apartment together and have been living happily for about 7 years. Here's the thing, I never deleted the document. I haven't worked on it in 5 years, but I haven't deleted it either. I told our friend one night when I was drunk, and he got all quiet and said, that's fucked up, man. Last night she got emailed my... Wait, what? She got emailed my entire manuscript. Who emailed it to her? 149 pages of her boyfriend saying what an awful person she is. I called her a monster several times. Here's where I think she stops being the victim. She sent it to everyone important in my life, my coworkers, boss, parents, all our mutual friends, everyone. So am I the asshole for not deleting my book draft? Edit to add. People keep saying this sounds like Pretty Little Liars. I am a grown man. I know of the teen drama, but don't know the storyline you're talking about. Now, personally, I have not watched Pretty Little Lies. I don't know. I don't think there's also like a book basis to it or anything like that, but whoa. Okay. First of all, I would just like to talk about how this tweet is like written, because you can definitely like see the underlying layers of the writer of this paragraph really not liking this other person, but then we have this plot twist in the middle of it where he's like, yeah, actually we got together, but I mean, I guess at the end of the paragraph again, he is actually mad at her again because she published his manuscript. Okay, so basically the answer here is not, is he the asshole for not deleting the book draft? I think the answer, the question is he an asshole for writing about her in the first place? He apparently kept writing 2 years into their relationship, because he says they have been dating for 7 years. He hasn't worked on this draft in 5 years, so obviously there's a 2-year span there, because he admits he got together with her because he thought she was awful and he thought, damn, that's something good to write about. And then he kept writing for 2 years. But I guess at some point he was like, oh wait, I actually love her. And then they actually started dating. He stopped writing about her. I mean, I think it's not okay that he got into an actual relationship with her solely for the purpose of wanting to write a book about her. I mean, I guess I'm not like really, I have written a bit, you know, but I'm not like a writer or anything like that, not like professionally or something like that. But it is legit that like the people you meet in your real life inspire you in your creative process, inspire characters and stuff like that. But it is not okay to get into a real life relationship in order to exploit someone like that on a literary basis. He could have just tried to like spend more time or like time with her in like bigger settings where like other friends and people were also around, just like to get inspired by her, in witnessing her just like interacting with other people on and like that. Like if he wanted to like use her as like the basis of a character he wanted to write, he should have done it like that, I believe, but not actually like fraud her into getting into a relationship with him. And then okay, we have this twist that yeah, but at some point it got real. It's like fake dating turning into real life dating, which is often, not often, but that is also like a book plot in itself, of course. But she wasn't aware the entire time that it was fake dating, so that's of course where she got jaded. So yeah, for that, for sure, he was an asshole. He shouldn't have started dating her on that basis, of course. And he should have, especially once they started dating for real though, so to say, he should have come clean about it and like explained, you know, like, what, babe? Back then I thought you were such a bad person, so I wrote a book about how awful you were. I don't know, he should have mentioned that at some point, and not now have everything come out like that. But here's the thing I can't quite wrap my head around: who emailed that manuscript to her? Because it just said last night she got emailed my entire manuscript. He never published that or anything. It was on his computer alone, I should think, because he only told his friend about that this document exists. He didn't send it to his friend, did he? So there's a loophole there that I would want to know about, like, who sent that manuscript. Obviously now she got kind of petty, I would say, now sending it to like everyone, his boss, co-workers, parents, every like mutual friends. Like, that's not necessary. I mean, this is like a huge stink bomb that exploded, but they should have just handled it between themselves. There was absolutely no need to get petty like that and send it to everyone being like, see what he did, you know. I mean, he was wrong for doing it for sure, but I also don't think it's right what she did, like sending it to everyone. That's just like not necessary. But I kind of think that all the people involved here, they sound kind of awful. Like, he for sure is awful. He admits that she is also like, she used to be awful, and like what we see of her character in the end of the story also doesn't look that great, to be honest. So overall, a lot of bad people around. But going back to that to that situation, like being inspired by people in your real life and using them for like fictional characters you write about. I mean, of course, that is like a process when you get inspired and then you start writing. But once you like really, whether it's something you do actively or passively, but once you like realize, okay, like this person I'm writing about right here in my fictional book, really is that real life person I'm meeting over there? I think at some point you should tell them, you should let them know. Here's the thing, I'm not saying that you should do that because you have to ask for permission, though. Of course, I mean, that's like another discussion we could have, like, do you need to ask for permission? But I think even outside of that, from like you have to ask for permission, you should let them know. Even if they, let's say that friend, for example, would then kind of like get upset, like, I would rather not do that, but you're almost already finished with your novel. I think it would be okay for you to keep it in the novel, maybe like change a few aspects of the character so it's not that obvious, kind of like, but then at the end of the day, only like to like your mutual friends, only they would ever be able to know that it is the other person you're writing about or something like that, and like everyone else in the world reading the book wouldn't know. So then it's kind of like you don't have to make that big a fuss about it, you know. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you should let people know when they influence you in your fictional writing, especially if you basically coin a person in the book to be them. I think most people would actually think that's really cool. Most people would actually be flattered and be like, oh my god, okay, that's nice, that's cool, I like it. But then of course it can also be that you have kind of like a bad character in your book and there's also a person that inspired that character. Maybe they wouldn't be so thrilled about it, but maybe they would. Oh my gosh, this is such a long discussion I think we could have here, but like this specific scenario we were reading about and talking about right here, both people sound kind of awful. Wouldn't want to have anything to do with them. Okay, I just had to close the curtains because the light was becoming a bit too bright, especially in the background. I hope you can still see me. Okay, let's do maybe like 1, 2 more of these. Am I the asshole? Oh wait, I think this got deleted. Am I the asshole for not reading my wife's upcoming novel before it releases because I just ... don't want to? Ah, okay, here's the original posting. But I guess the original poster actually deleted it, which is curious, I should think. Okay, here's the story. My wife's first book is being published in August of this year. She worked on it for a few years and is very proud of it, and I'm proud of her. But I'm also not interested in reading the book before it comes out, and probably not after. It's nothing personal, obviously. I am pro-wife and have nothing against books. I'm quite a reader myself. But still, you can't bring yourself to read the book of your wife? Okay. Her book is simply not interesting to me. So I think it would be strange to read it. It is about a young woman with a mental illness who enters the group program, and it's about the quirky nature of these people in the group. I read books about men exploring, men solving, men doing. What kind of idiot is this? Mostly science fiction, though I do throw in the occasional historical influence. Oh, this author is such a douchebag. You can already tell. Can you hear that? Wait a second. A book about a young woman simply existing is not interesting to me. FYI, I edited this. Several of you are getting way too caught up in the men part of this when the issue is the doing, not gender at all. Sure. He obviously deleted this because he got shat on. Okay, at Christmas, she was excitedly talking about the upcoming year and things she was looking forward to as part of the publication journey. She mentioned release party treats, and my brother chimed in about a part of the book, asking if they would include a reference to that scene. I looked at him rather quizzically and said how he knew about that. He asked me if I'd read it, and I said, no, of course not. I said that he knows I'm more of a science fiction or just non-fiction lad myself. He said that he couldn't imagine not reading his wife's book if it were to be published. Seems like not the entire family is dumb. I shrugged it off and said, well, it's not like you've all read it. As it should turn out, all but my young niece, 6 years old, had read it. I was honestly shocked. Even my dad read it, and his shelves are nothing but Tom Clancy. My wife has asked me many times to read her book, but I've told her no because of my aforementioned reasons above. My family is making me second guess my decisions. They all treated me like it was weird for me not to read about a 20-year-old woman's trouble. Am I really the asshole? Just an FYI. I have been supporting her for years while she chased this dream. I make a living comfortable. Oh, he's not going down that road. Like, I'm making money so she can write her little books. So that is encouragement enough. He's not going to write that, is he? I make a living comfortable enough for both of us where she doesn't have to work and can focus on writing. If that isn't support, I don't know what is. What a fucking douchebag this guy is. Obviously, you should fucking read the fucking book your fucking spouse wrote and got published, which is such a huge achievement. And no matter whether you're personally interested in the genre, in the specific plotline they wrote about, yes, you should read it. What the hell? And the fact that he, oh God, the fact that he started this, well, I'm making the money here so she can focus on her little writing project so I don't have to read that shit, right? She should publish the book, get hella money for it, and divorce her fucking asshole husband. What the hell? Oh, no matter he had to delete that. People gave him what he deserved, I'm sure. What the hell? Now I'm all riled up. Okay, one last one, and that one I hope puts me in a happy mood again. Okay, am I the asshole? This is, I think, kind of like the last one I can find in general, so I guess there will be no part 3 to this segment, at least none focused on book-specific scenarios, but I can maybe talk about some other stuff. I don't know. Okay, so here's the last one. Am I the asshole for folding down the pages of a book my friend let me borrow? Dude, don't mess with other people's books. If a friend even without reading this, if a friend borrows your book, you should treat it like it is a holy object. You do not write in it or on it or anything like that. You do not spill coffee on it. You do not use it to prop up other shit. You do not bend down pages. You treat it like it's the Holy Bible in case you're religious or something else in case you're not. And that should be a given. Why do people even have to post that kind of stuff on the internet being like, oh wait, is that not okay to do? I mean, do you have any like basic social knowledge? Guess not. I, 20-year-old male, am taking a Vanna literature course this semester for my general education requirement, and I had to buy like 14 novels for it. My university bookstore didn't have the option to rent them, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on buying books I'm not planning on ever reading again. I asked my friend, who's an English major and has probably at least every book known to man, if she had any of the books I needed, and she had pretty much all the ones that were required. I asked if I could borrow them for the semester, and she agreed. I started reading the first one, and when I would finish at a certain point, I would bend down the top corner of the page, just a little so I could remember where my place was. Have you ever heard of bookmarks? And no, you don't even need a bookmark. You can take any piece of paper, any cardboard, and just put it in the book. You don't have to bend down pages. I didn't think this was a really bad thing. I have always seen this done with books if you don't have a bookmark, and once you pick it back up, you put the paper back in its place, and it's fine. I was studying on campus one day and I ran into my friend. She came and sat down next to me, and we were talking, just chilling, and then all of a sudden she sees the book I'm currently reading for class, one of the ones she gave me, and she starts freaking out, asking me why the fuck I bent down the corners. By the way, I added the fuck. You can kind of see which side I'm on here. I told her it was just to keep my place, and she starts going through all the corners that I had put down and put back up, like, look, I can see here and here and here and here and here. And honestly, I thought it was a little dramatic. I understand she likes to keep her books in good condition, but she didn't say I couldn't. She didn't have to say it. If you can obviously tell that this person from whom you're borrowing the book has not done this kind of thing, you don't start doing it. And even if, for example, you borrow a friend's book and you see they have like bookmarked certain things, that still doesn't mean that you can now add your bookmarks, like your dog ears to that, because maybe there's like rhyme and reason in there, and you're not the one to mess that shit up. What a douchebag, honestly. And some of the books even had annotations in them from when she read them, so it isn't like the books are in mint condition. That's exactly what I just said right now. Even if someone like annotated, put in dog ears themselves, that doesn't mean that you can just do with this book whatever you want to. When I told my friend this, she just got even more upset and said I should have known and that it is common sense. It is. What the hell? Like, 20-year-old and at university? Pfft. Damn. My gosh, this goes on forever. What the hell? He will just try to like come up with excuses, I'm sure. Okay, I apologize for not knowing, but she wouldn't hear it. She told me she wanted all of her books back, and I tried to tell her I would use a bookmark from now on, but she wouldn't listen at all. Now I have to spend over $100 on some books that will just get tossed or donated after the semester's over. Yeah, I get it. I can totally get the friend that she's like, give me back my books right now. What the fuck? You're not taking good care of them. And he's being unreasonable and a douchebag anyway. Plus, like, she was so nice and tried to help him out, borrow him all these books so that he doesn't have to spend his coin on them. And then he starts, first of all, doing this really, like, rude stuff. Like, that it is common knowledge that you can't just treat other people's possessions like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you shouldn't do that. I mean, come on. What, are you dumb or something? Plus, it doesn't sound like he like really actually apologized. He was like, oh wait, you never said anything, chill. No way. Edit. I have had you guys loud and clear. Yes, I have bad book manners. That's a good term. Bad book manners. Yes, I am dumb for doing it and not realizing. And I will apologize again, and I will be replacing the book I ruined. Lesson learned. Is this like a character arc we're seeing here? I didn't even know what dog earring was until the comments replying to this post. Again, thanks for the feedback. I accept the asshole status, and I promise I have learned my lesson. Okay, now another edit. For those of you saying, have you seriously never read a book? Or not understanding how I don't like to read. I understand. Okay, wait, but no, this goes on for too long. I'm not going to reply to that. So damn, okay, this was actually a good note to end the story on, because at least this person pretended to have understood the message. Now he has learned something. He will not do something dumb like that ever in his life again. We have converted one more person. Good news. That was a good one to end this on. As I just said, I don't actually think there are many more, if any, Am I the Asshole bookish edition scenarios out there. I had a very good time reacting to them. I hope you enjoyed this second episode. If you like this, haven't seen the first one, obviously you can check that one out. If there are other Am I the Asshole subreddit tweets, whatever you would want me to react to, definitely let me know down below. I hope you have a good day. I'm gonna see you next time. Bye.